Welcome to CA Mining's podcast, where we share our insights and expertise with over 17 years of experience in the global mining and renewable energy sectors. At CA Mining, we believe in the power of partnership. Tune in to hear from our industry experts, get insider scoops on mining trends, listen in on Francophone and Spanish conversations, and discover how we can help your organization thrive.
Good morning and welcome to CA Mining Chats. We have a very exciting new offering at CA Mining where we are going to be offering advisory services. For the past 18 years, we have been the partner of choice when it comes to recruitment, but our clients have been asking for more. They need deeper insight, they need advice on retention strategies, they're looking for guidance on workforce planning, and I think it's time that we evolve and that we now offer the service. So I'm pleased to introduce Clare Calver from Future C, who will be partnering with us on this journey. And I'd hand over to her just to give us a brief intro.
Thank you, Vivienne. I'm delighted to be here after so many years of partnering and working together, and to be exploring this very exciting collaboration with CA Mining. Just in terms of the viewers, I have been working in the mining industry for close on 30 years within human resources. Started in the South African mining context and quite quickly migrated across the borders into Africa. I'm a proud generalist and I love project work. I love getting my hands dirty and the diversity of working with various clients in Africa.
So Claire, in terms of working in the mining industry, you've got many years of experience, you've encountered many different projects, worked in various different African jurisdictions. In your experience and what you're seeing today, what do you feel are the biggest challenges that mining organizations are facing when it comes to HR matters in particular?
The ones that come to mind are challenges such as workforce planning. We certainly have done a lot of work in the space of talent management and succession planning. So the likes of a CA Mining would mobilize competent expats into Africa, but that's a finite assignment. And what's happening behind the scenes in terms of skills transfer, training and developing and monitoring the development of the nationals that should be understudies to the expats. On the workforce planning and the organizational design, what we often find is mining companies will transition from greenfields into construction and into production, but the org structure and the staffing and the manning of the operation doesn't keep up with each phase that the mine
doesn't allow
is
it,
going.
right? They're not thinking ahead.
Correct. And if you don't have the right structure, you don't have the right people become disengaged, they don't make decisions, and what we've seen is with a disengaged workforce, we start seeing a lot of safety issues.
In this industry, we have been involved over almost close on 20 years, specifically in Africa. And we often get feedback from our candidates that we have placed that perhaps their role isn't defined the way they need it to be defined. They have encountered issues with a bit of leadership disorganization. The runway really isn't clear as to what they're doing and where they need to go. Have you maybe encountered similar situations, and when you get involved with these mining clients, how would you typically approach this type of situation? What would your suggestions be to the client, and what would be your next steps in solving their problem?
Vivienne, a really fantastic question, because what we pride ourselves on is a more bespoke, fit-for-purpose approach. We really don't want to use a cookie cutter when it comes to our clients. So what we typically do is do a very specific diagnostic of the problem. And that would entail interviewing members of the leadership team. We would run focus groups. We could even do kind of anonymous surveys, culture surveys, climate surveys. We'd ask our clients to share with us as much data as possible. And from that, we would then start distilling and really understanding the root of the problem. Once we understand the root of the problem, and to go back to the comments around organizational design, if you have candidates that you've placed and they feel that their roles aren't properly defined and they don't have decision making and they can't make the kind of impact that they need to be making, that talks to kind of organizational design issue. We would then go back to the client and propose a solution around organizational design, and then work with them on customizing and making sure that it was fit for purpose for that specific client. So we like to be collaborative. We want to be transparent in terms of our findings, and then work together with the client to find a win-win solution.
Okay. And I would imagine in every African country, the challenges and the issues probably are very different. And whilst we're working in these African countries, we need to take into the regulations and rules and legislation, particularly to that specific country. How do you go about ensuring that whatever you are doing from a workforce planning, organizational design purpose, that it is fit for that specific country?
We would always work very closely with the in-country team. We would never assume that we understand all the nuances of the legislation, of the operating environment and culture. What we like to do is we like to work behind the scenes with the HR team, because ultimately we're there to support them. We're there to
elevate them, really,
enable them, and also coach and mentor. So again, it has to be collaborative. As external third-party consultants, it's very much around working in collaboration, because if you impose a solution without getting that buy-in, once you demobilize, it's just going to fall flat. So that's really our approach when dealing with our clients in Africa, and it's worked very, really well.
Yeah, Claire, I think for us at CA Mining, it's critical to our organization that whoever we place, fulfills their contract obligation. We want our clients to have a return on their investment, and ultimately we have an obligation to our candidates that they are employed in a place where they feel safe, where they feel valued, where they feel that they can grow. And we have plenty contact with our candidates afterwards, and we pick up on many issues that may lead to frustration and could potentially cause them to think about leaving their current role. And the way that CA Advisory came about is, firstly, we need to get involved as to why that position exists. We don't want to think just about today, about putting someone into that seat. We really want to think about and assist our clients in terms of understanding why that vacancy exists, where is it going, and should the project or the operation transition, how does that all flow through? We've seen too many times in dealing with our clients that the mining organization is evolving too fast for what the HR team is capable, or the leadership is capable of managing. And there are many little bits and bobs that actually fall through the cracks that eventually can cause unhappy employees at the end of the day. How do you get involved with understanding the why behind the vacancy? And how do we get involved as CA Mining and CA Advisory, Claire, in terms of ensuring that there is retention, they fulfill their obligation, and ultimately they're there to improve production and improve sustainability and profitability for the clients?
That's a great question. So, Vivienne, data is always key, and when you start picking up, or CA Mining is picking up trends, or I'm picking up trends, it's really important to engage with the client, because they're probably picking up the trends before you picking up the trends. We could then go into the business and again do a bit of a diagnostic and deep dive. People leave businesses for multiple reasons. However, I think if you can understand what the reasons are, it's hugely valuable. So a first question would be to the client, is your HR department doing a proper and thorough exit interview? What is that data telling you? One of the key reasons could be lack of a competitive remuneration package. We keep abreast of remuneration and comp benefits trends, whether it's the salary, whether it's the bonus, whether it's allowances. We have those trends. We understand what the market is doing. But on the softer side as well, is why people leave, is maybe the camp life is untenable. Maybe there is nothing to do outside of work. People need a place to decompress and to go and watch the sport. Maybe nothing like that exists. Also, we would need to keep abreast of what trends are happening with rotations as well. And often what we find is the rotation is not a competitive rotation. So there are all these little factors that would build into why somebody leaves. But what is often a big driver is not necessarily the pay or the camp or the rotation, but it's often the leadership style, the values that are driven at a leadership level. Because if the leadership style or the leadership culture or the culture of the organization is not one where employees are able to thrive and flourish, then you're going to have turnover that is going to be concerning, which is obviously going to drive up costs for the client. So we could come in, we could do an intervention with the leadership to understand what the issues are and have a look at addressing some of those leadership deficiencies. We have a team that could go in and do a very comprehensive diagnostic, could do some assessments and get to the heart of the issues and put forward a recommendation.
And I think in many cases we also see that with work permits specifically to expats, specifically in certain skill sets such as HR, in some cases safety, training, companies are struggling to get work permits to bring in expats because essentially an expat is there to transfer skills. And in many cases, they're unable to actually get these work permits, which means that they're having to localize their HR and enable local HR. How have you gone about getting involved with enabling local HR and elevating them to ensure that they are capable of operating at international standards? Because I think that is key in terms of operating in Africa at the moment, is to be able to still operate your operation at international standards and ensure that they're sustainable again and that safety is a priority. So how do you get involved with the local HR to elevate them and assist them in terms of running it at an international level?
So one of my passions is learning and development and talent management. It's a space that I really thrive in and a space that I really love. And we've done this a couple of times. We've gone in and we've worked with the HR teams. And again, it's back to doing a baseline, understanding where the competencies are of the team, understanding what the business expects of them, understanding what does global best practice look like, doing that gap assessment. What we've done is we have approached it with various strategies. We have run development programs. We'll actually get a third party in to come and do various HR modules with the teams, because traditionally within Africa, it's been a very transactional service that Human Resources has offered. And the real swing is to bring on and develop skills in business partnering. HR professionals traditionally haven't really understood the business, haven't really understood what their clients need. And that they are service providers and a support service to the business. So we come in and we try and establish that vision for the team. We do that baseline assessment, and then over a period of time, we assess the progress in developing that culture of business partnering. We encourage the HR teams to go and sit with the line managers. So whether it's to go and sit with the engineering manager or the mining manager, go and be in the morning meetings, understand that there's a problem with overtime, or there's a problem with absenteeism, or they're struggling with the operators because the operators are damaging the machines. The HR practitioners have to go into the business to understand what the business needs are.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, be present, be involved, and to actually demonstrate that they're interested in the business. So it's a whole mindset change.
And I guess you need buy-in from multiple line managers for it to ultimately work. And I think, what we've also experienced over many years is often HR is an afterthought. It's a side gig to the main show. And mining organizations are developing too fast, or they're transitioning at a rate where the HR can't keep up, or they haven't necessarily attended to the HR to ensure that it actually does keep up. And at the moment in Africa, we're seeing many greenfields projects that have actually commenced or waiting funding, and buttons are going to be pressed fairly soon. And I think when we're involved with these greenfields projects, they don't have teams set up, they don't have systems, they don't have HR policies. How would we go about dealing with these clients who suddenly get the funding, they're ready to go? How soon do we need to get involved with the development and the organizational planning for phase 1, phase 2 as the project moves forward? So ultimately greenfields projects, maybe a very small HR team that hasn't been enabled, being an afterthought, and how can we help the clients in that regard?
So I think with these startups, what's important is that there are some non-negotiables that are in place from a human resources perspective, and those non-negotiables would obviously be, robust contracts of employment. We need to make sure that at least when we're contracting people into the business, they're robust contracts, that there is alignment in terms of organizational structures, that there's some policy and some rules around how we do recruitment, how do we pay people. There has to be an appreciation for the local legislation as well. And really quite importantly, when you are setting up a greenfields is, what does phase 2, what does phase 3 look like, so that you can position yourself to ensure that your practice and your HR discipline is then scalable to support the business as it grows. But I think there really is a blueprint, Vivienne. When a business is establishing, there are multiple tick boxes that the business needs to be confident that are in place. It doesn't need to be fancy, and I think that's something else that we pride ourselves on. We don't want fancy. We want something
practical.
That is practical, that everybody understands, because there's no place and there's no time for fluff.
So Claire, thank you very much for your time this morning. We are very open to engaging with any of our audience and our clients, prospective or current. And if they're needing clarity before hiring or any assistance or support after hiring, our doors are open. They're welcome to drop us an email, and all the contact information will be in the post. And let's have further discussions and see how we can get involved. So thank you, Claire, and I look forward to this journey.
Thank you, Vivienne, and it's been fantastic to meet the broader team this morning, and I am so excited about this collaboration. I think your vision in terms of this collaboration is spot on. I see that this will be a really exciting partnership, and I look forward to working on multiple projects together with yourself and your team.
Thank you.